Hi guys, this is Chad here, and I'm here to show you a little bit about the first-person controller that we're using for rites of passage. Alright, so what I got here is our default our capsule with camera. Now I have my object acquire script, so you need to make sure your player has that object acquire script, or else it can't grab objects. And then here with the first-person controls, you can expand these individual areas, and this will be the move controls. So this is how the player interacts. So you have your sprint duration, which is how many seconds that the sprint will last. A strafe modifier is just the speed of how fast the player can strafe. A speed modifier is how fast they move. Just like a base speed of how fast they move. The sprint modifier is just like, kind of like a boost to that modifier. Sprint recharge is the how fast it recharges. So this will recharge twice as fast as normal, and if it was 1, it would just regenerate at the way it's currently set up. Sprint duration will restore 1 second per second so when you sprint. So I'll sprint for 3 seconds here, and then it will stop. If you hit 0 on the sprint or the max speed, then you have to wait till the cooldown does the full 3 seconds, the same as the sprint duration. So the recharge will just make it recharge twice as fast. So it'd be 1.5 seconds if they sprinted max or sprinted through the full duration. If not, then it will they can sprint again. There's just that cooldown that if they do sprint the full length, then they're out of breath basically. Jump modifier is just how high the player can jump. So it's the force there. Obviously 17 is a little too high. Crouch height is how far down they crouch. So right there it's 0.3. You can make it even way down to, well, I have it lowest at 0.25. So a quarter of the height. Standing height is just how tall the player is. Fall time to die will just reset the player to the last checkpoint or to the starting position of the scene where they first entered. And that's just the time, so 3 seconds. Now sprint speed, I did change this one. It was originally going from right to left, but I fixed that. So when you're doing this, you want to make sure that, so the bottom here is the time, or at that time of where the sprint is, the value of the multiplier of the sprint. So you want to make sure the minimum value is 1, unless you really wanted to make the player be a little bit slower, because it's going to multiply it, so they'd be actually going slower than the normal speed if they were like this here. So make sure it's at 1 initially, so they're going their normal speed. Oops. And then this is a modifier. So here they'll be running twice as fast as their normal speed, 1.5 times the normal speed. If you make the sprint duration greater than the actual curve here, so if you make we'll just pull the highest value, the clamp up there. Oops, sorry. So right here, we'll just clamp out at the max value, at this max value, or this value right here. So if you go 5, right here's 3 seconds, at 5 seconds, it would still be that same speed there. So you can always go like this, modify it however you want. Oops. If you don't have that bar there, just the free smooth, and you're able to do it yourself. You can add keyframes to this if you want to make it be like a strange. Let's add a few there. There we go. Let's just see how that one is. So there, I hit the wall, and then it's going again. And as soon as it's lagging a little bit because of the recording. Alright, so next is look control. The zoom factor was just how far it zooms in, or the percentage it zooms in. The max angle was just the field of view right here, which, yeah, isn't, since it's not playing right now, it's not really being affected. But this is still in the alpha, so it might not be actually affecting anything. So look sensitivity is just the sensitivity of how fast they look and how much it follows. Damping is kind of just a really annoying feature. It's a little bit nice to smooth movement, but as you see here, I can move my mouse and then it just stops. I stop it and it will just keep moving. It will slowly decrease. So that's kind of good for if you want to make someone drunk or whatever and they can't really control or whatnot. But was it for the default value? No, it was too high. One gives almost perfect. Let's see, manipulation controls. So the carry position is where the player first, when it picks up an object, where it goes. The default carry position. So if I want to, that's where it's holding it. If I change the carry position, ooh, there. Let's pick up another object then. Oops. Here it goes. Oh wait, I forgot I changed the system how that works. So this actually doesn't count anymore for that, because I'm using the raycasting here for the player to find stuff and to hold it the right distance. Force factor is just it gives a bonus to when you're moving heavy objects. You can set it higher or lower. Wait, that's a movable object. So if this object here on the rigid body has a mass of 2, so like let's say just 2 kilograms. If I'd make it to be 1,000 kilograms, oops, and I will go pick that one up. So I pick that one up, it moves really slow because it weighs so much. If I make my bonus force factor really high, it moves way faster. So if you have an object that's too light, you didn't adjust the rigid body mass, like if it's 0.1, which is probably too tiny that it freaked out and flew away. Make sure it has a good mass here. So now it's half a kilo, but it has that force power of 100. As you can see, it's just freaking out. Alright. Back to the player controller. Sorry. Alright, so max carry mass will be just how heavy of an object the player can actually carry. Carry speed modifier is how fast the objects move. Throw force is when you throw the object with the gravity, or by shooting it out. That's just the force that we use. It's not working at the moment. That feature, since I'm changing these controls over to the new system, it's not enabled at the moment. The cooldown, obviously cooldown of how between the throw time. Push force will be added. It's when a player runs up to an object. Oops. When they bump into an object, it will actually bump some force into the object. So it won't just be. It'll also be when the player is like stomping down on the object that it will affect it. And next is the scroll sensitivity, and that's probably one of the most or best things, because if I grab this object and I want to scale it, and it takes me forever to scroll it, like 6 or 7 times just to make it that small, and I increase this to 10, oops, and I scale this, it goes almost instantly. So yeah. All right. And that's this, the first part of this series, and I will make some more in a few more minutes for you guys. See you later. Bye.